All right, this is the second video for your study guide. This is the proofs section. It goes over pages 37 and 38 of your Unit 6 study guide. And here we go. So the number 23, first of all, with all of your proofs, you always know that you start with your given information and you end with your prove information. Your first reason is always going to be given. So we're going to list that Q is the midpoint of PT and RS hold please.
I'm sorry.
Continuing on, so we have our given information. Q is the midpoint of PT and RS. So when you see midpoint in the given information, the first thing that should be right after that is the definition of midpoint. And since this is the midpoint of two things, then definition of midpoint should go twice. Now, let's deal with the first one. Q is the midpoint of PT. Q is the midpoint of PT. So what two things are equal? PQ is equal to QT. And that takes care of PT. Now let's take care of RS. What two things should be equal if Q is the midpoint of RS? RQ is congruent to QS. And that is all of our given information. Now we need to look at the picture and see if there are shared sides or vertical angles. Those are the two things that you need to look at the picture to decide. There's no shared side in this picture, but there are vertical angles. There's a vertical angle right here at angle Q. So that's going to be your next reason is vertical angles. And the angles are, you name angles with three letters with the angle in the middle, P, Q, R, is congruent to angle TQS because they are vertical angles. Now I'm looking at my pictures and I see that PQ is congruent to QT, that gives us a side. RQ is congruent to QS, also gives us a side. And angle PQR is congruent to angle TQS, is an angle. So this either has to be, well, it has to be side, angle, side, side, angle, side. So triangle PQR is congruent to triangle TQS by side, angle, side. All right, number 24. AC bisects angle BAD and angle BCD. That's our given. AC bisects angle BAD and angle BCD, and that is given information. So we're going to deal with the first one first. When you see that word bisect, the very next reason should be definition of bisect. Since this bisects two things, we should have two definitions of bisect. All right, now let's take a look at what this bisects. So AC bisects BAD. Remember the angle is at the middle letter. So this bisects angle A. So we just need to name these two smaller pieces now. So that's BAC. Angle BAC is congruent to angle DAC. All right, now let's deal with angle BCD. And remember the angle is at the middle letter. So that's angle C over here. And now we just need to name these two little parts, BCA. Angle BCA is congruent to angle DCA. By definition of bisect. That takes care of all of our given information. So now we need to look at the picture and see if we have vertical angles or a shared side. In this case, we have a shared side, and that is AC, and AC is congruent to itself by the reflexive property. Now I look at my picture and I have angle BAC and angle DAC. Those are angles. I have angle BCA and angle DCA. Those are also angles. And I have side AC, and that's a side. So I look at my picture, and I see that I have angle, side, angle. And that is the last reason for the prove triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ADC. Moving on. Number 25. So we are told that triangle WZX and triangle YZX are right triangles. That's given. And the reason they tell us that is because we have to know that they are right triangles in order to be able to use hypotenuse leg. But that's all the information we can get from that. We can't say anything is equal because they're right triangles. That just gives us the okay to use hypotenuse leg. So we go to our next given. WX is congruent to YX. That's also given. WX congruent to YX. Now, that's all of the given information that I have, so I need to look at my picture and figure out whether I have vertical angles or a shared side. And I do have a shared side. That shared side is XZ. XZ is congruent to itself by the reflexive property. Now I look at my pictures. WX and XY are the hypotenuse because they are across from the right angle. And XZ is the leg because it's attached to the right angle. Therefore, these two triangles are congruent by hypotenuse leg. Triangle WZX is congruent to triangle YZX by hypotenuse leg. Now, since the triangles are equal, that means this angle is equal, so angle WXZ is congruent to angle YXZ by CPCTC. Just a few more to go. Two more to be exact. All right, 26. First is our given. BC is parallel to AD. BC is parallel to AD, and that is given. BC parallel to AD, and I know that that means I'm going to have some type of equal angle. So notice how I made the Z here. That means that this angle is equal to this angle. So CBD, angle CBD, is congruent to angle ADB. And those are in between the parallel lines, so those are alternate interior angles. All right, that's all we can do with that given. So now let's take a look at this given. Angle BAD is congruent to angle DCB. BAD, remember the angle is at the middle letter, so that's this angle here, is congruent to DCB, so that angle there, and that is given. Now that's all the information that I have from our given, so now I need to look for vertical angles or a shared side, and it turns out I do have a shared side right there, BD. So BD is congruent to itself by the reflexive property. Now I look at my statements. I have three equal things right here. I have an angle, another angle, and a side. Angle, angle, side. So I know that these two triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. Triangle ADB is congruent to triangle CBD by angle, angle, side. Since the triangles are congruent, all of their parts are congruent, so AB is congruent to CD by CPCTC. Last but not least, here we go, 27. QR is parallel to ST. and that is given. QR parallel to ST. Notice how one triangle is in between the two lines, one triangle is outside of the two lines. So that means that this angle and this angle are congruent by corresponding angles. So RQS is congruent to angle TSU by corresponding angles. Then it says RS is parallel to TU. RS, two arrows this time, parallel to TU. And again, we got the same thing going on. We've got this angle, angle RSQ, and this angle, angle TUS, are also corresponding angles. Angle RSQ congruent to angle TUS by corresponding angles. And then our very last piece of given says that QS is congruent to SU. QS congruent to SU, and that's given. Now I look at my proof, I see that I have 3 equal signs, which is what I need. This one is an angle, this one is an angle, and this one is a side. I look at my triangles and I have angle, side, angle. Therefore, these two triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle. Triangle QRS is congruent to triangle STU by angle, side, angle. And since these two triangles are congruent, their parts are congruent. Angle QRS is congruent to angle STU by CPCTC. All right. Hope that helps. Happy studying for your test. Have a great Red Devil day.